Welcome to Helping Hands with your hosts, John Neiman and Judy Ritchie.
Hello, and welcome to Helping Hands. This is our opportunity to let you and the community know how you can lend a helping hand to a program or an agency in need. And especially since this is December, we're going to talk about a lot of other volunteering that can be done too. So I'm Judy Ritchie with Oshkosh Family Meals on Wheels.
And I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center. And as Judy said, welcome to our December holiday show. We're so glad that you could be with us and that you could join us. Where can you see us? You can see us on CATV2. Our show is on 5 out of the 7 days of the week, prime time also. So we appreciate you watching us. Also, on Charter 984, you can listen to us on the radio at 101.9 FM. Being the holidays too, this is also a chance for us to thank our sponsors. Without them, the show would not be possible, and that would be Aurora Healthcare, who is our monetary sponsor, and then also our set decor by Harnix Floral and Gifts. We're talking this month about Christmas presents, and we have a Christmas present sitting to my right here. This actually is the start of our 13th season on OCAT.
And this is, she's only missed two Christmases with us through all of this time.
Judy was our good luck charm. The show that she was on once, we got nominated, won an award for it too, so we had to bring her back. We had to say, come on back, because we need that. So Judy Britton here, and now I believe her title, if I looked at the screen, is Community
Volunteer Advocate.
Volunteer Advocate.
Okay.
That is your new title we gave you.
Thank you.
So welcome, Judy Britton, to our show.
Thanks for having us.
Judy, when you first started coming with us, you were the Executive Director of Cerebral Palsy, and then you retired, lucky lady, and for some reason we could never find you at home. And why is that?
Well, I think I still enjoy volunteering, and thank you again for having me today, and congratulations. 13 years, wow, that's really wonderful. And I think this show has done a lot in our community, letting folks know about volunteerism, what they can be doing. I think when I was working as an agency, I knew I could call you folks and say, hey, I need this, and can you help me out? And you folks would always get something on about that. So it's a great show for doing a lot of things in our community.
Well, thank you. And you officially retired, but you didn't.
Correct.
Because you were the United Way co-chairs.
Co-chair, yes, last year.
Last
with
year.
Dr. Barbara Herzog, yes.
And you're still active in a lot of things like Altrusa and other things. Why do you volunteer? This could be a chance for you to lie around on the beach with a drink and relax. But what makes you want to volunteer?
Oh, I think just I've always been that way, and I think just being able to volunteer makes you feel good. You're helping someone else and helping other charities, and it's just a good feeling.
Well, and one of the things that she didn't mention is when the way she was brought up, if she had not volunteered, her mother would have had some words with her.
Yes,
Because her mom was very active in the community also.
She was. That's very true. And our whole family was active in the community. And so we're just kind of carrying that on now.
I do, because the cycle of how you know people, because when I was a youngster, our family would help out at Wickert's. And I remember you and your mother coming into Wickert's, and that's when I first when I first met Judy. And then And then, of course, the store on Main Street, the shoe store and everything.
The shoe store, absolutely, yeah.
But you've always kind of been a fixture in our community because you volunteer all over the place.
Yeah, you mentioned Altrusa, and there's the Women's Association. We now have a new name, Women's Division. It's now known as the Oshkosh Area Women's Association. Okay. So they have a new name, and so we're in that. And so just, whatever someone, just helping out, still helping out with cerebral palsy. So Judy hasn't gotten me. She told me I would talk too much if I went with
and
Meals
that's
on
true.
Wheels.
We really want them to have their meals come and still be warm. And when Judy starts talking, and so
I help her in other ways.
She does. And I think one of the big things, and Judy and I go back a lot of years too, because even before I started with Meals on Wheels, where we did some awareness programs on disability awareness.
Yes.
At Park Plaza, where we had in the center court area all sorts of obstacle courses for wheelchairs and all these service things long before it became popular.
Right.
And without Judy, without her contacts, we would not have gotten where we were with all of that.
I remember one of my volunteers who passed away. That's why I wore this red vest again. Ruth Haitudis was very involved, and she talked fondly of you, but she used to call this my Lee Dreyfus, Governor Lee Dreyfus red vest. Ruth would tell it like it was and is. So, but she was very involved too. And,
she was.
And when you support a cause like that, it really does mean a lot, and you stand up and you speak up for it. So
that's right.
We appreciate everything that you've done. I wanted to pick your brain a little and what do you think has changed over the years with people in volunteering and agencies? Have you seen, as you can sit back and think about how the volunteers were with your agency maybe 10 years ago, what's the difference now?
Well, I think that we're getting some of the younger folks in today, which I think is very important. I think we have a ways to go with that, but we are getting some of the younger middle-aged folks into volunteering in our community, and I think we need to work on that a little bit more. But I think that's one of the biggest changes that I've seen.
And I do too. I think that there are some people, when I was growing up, that didn't know what a nursing home was or a care center or like the old Parkview, and they would get nervous and didn't know how to be around people who were different than them. And to see the younger people today come in, and now younger, I know I'm talking.
Actually, with Evergreen, they've had the E.B. Davis kids, first next door and then within the building, and some of the schools that bring in the young children. So they grow up. This is normal.
Right.
They're not afraid of it. I think back to, our earlier years of some of the things that we did. Pet therapy. What was that? You didn't bring an animal in a facility. And now you've got the cats and the dogs in West Crans with a horse maybe, or, there's so many different things that they're more patient-centered, person-centered, rather than facility-centered.
Right. I think that also, like with the respite house that Cerebral Palsy of Mideast, Wisconsin has in this community, that we have found, and I'm sure it's that way today too, that they have a lot of the younger folks. And I think because of the high schools having to do that volunteerism while they're in high school and they are able to choose places, I think that's something that's kind of great for the agencies, because then they get to know the agencies.
Right, and they're required to put in so many volunteer hours, but they can pick and choose what they would like to do. And when they're applying for scholarships, their grades count a lot, but a lot of times that community service that they've done counts as much or more, because they're learning life skills and time management and all of those sorts of things. So volunteering has a huge payback.
Well, and I was just talking to someone just the other day, which made me feel really good, is that her daughter was in high school, volunteered at our respite house in those days, became a CNA, and is now going for her RN. And she said that she would just glow when she would come home from the respite house talking about how she helped somebody with a disability and what they did. So that was kind of good to hear.
And that brings up a point too, because back when I was growing up, there weren't that many volunteer opportunities per se out there to do that stuff. Now, people can volunteer in an environment to see what their job, if they want to be a CNA, a doctor, or a nurse, they can actually go into the facility and do that, because hospitals really have changed over the years. Besides the candy stripers, just visiting and greeting, and now they do so much, and people can actually pick a career and see if it's right for them, instead of going to college, graduating, and not knowing what they want to do.
A lot of the job shadowing and things that way. Again, a lot of what we're talking about is structured volunteering, but there's a lot that can be done for the neighbors.
Oh, yes.
Or, the kids at school or whatever. Winter season, shoveling sidewalks, or as we were talking earlier, the hats, the scarves, the mittens, Salvation Army with Coats for Kids, which is expanded to be coats for pretty
Of all-
much any age.
Coats of all
Right.
kinds, which was
And-
wonderful. We helped with that this year. We had 5 full boxes because I think when you call it coats for kids, people are limited and they think it's just for the kids. But in our community, everyone can use a coat, a new coat. And again, there is an instance where you thank the donors, but you also thank the dry cleaners who are dry
Yes,
cleaning
dry
all of that
cleaners.
stuff for free for us. There's so many opportunities to give back, and that's what I kind of wanted to use this show as too, is to thank the people in our community who do on a regular basis give back to us. We've talked about the Altrusa Club, the public library who gives, somewhere in this bag is all stuff donated, but the public library gives a cute little green. Here, I'll let you warm up,
Okay.
Judy, with this. And
Thank
that
you.
was the Christ Child Society.
Okay.
But they give a wonderful bag to the hospitals for their firstborns
Oh, yeah.
when they're born. And it's got all these little cute books in it to start reading at a time. And this is given, it's a project that they do. This I just love, because we used to make fleece blankets for Make a Difference Day. And here, this church just called me and said, we want something to do. And it was St. Paul's UCC. And they made these to donate to the patients. And they said to us, would you mind too if we gave them all over? I said, that's great. That's what you should be doing.
Right.
And so they're giving them to nursing homes and hospitals. The beautiful quilts by Lynn Mazinga. We have the Lakeside Quilters. We have so many groups out there.
Wisconsin Warmers.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
Warmers.
Wisconsin Warmers does the Christmas stockings that show up at the hospitals and nursing homes and Christine Ann and wherever.
Wherever.
Did you see me? You should have seen me walking through the hospital with this bag, because every single person stopped and said, is this for me? Because it's such a big present bag. But we have our people who make the wonderful hats
Yeah.
for our babies. And again, I tell them they have to make 2, because the parents want one as a keepsake and then they want one for the child to wear. Or they still make the booties so the dads and the moms can hang them in the car or keep them in their memory book. Also then, something as simple as
Magazine
Magazines.
subscriptions.
Magazines, yeah.
we have a dentist in town who always gives us his magazines so we can use them in the lobbies and all that. It helps us save money, but it gives us current reading, and then it's another way of recycling, going green, and all that good stuff. Judy has a bag right there.
I do.
want to thank the Christ Child Society because they give layettes to families in need, which is wonderful. It's a whole starter kit that has everything in that bag, from bottles to bibs to clothing, etc. And so those groups, it's hard when you start out.
It is.
It's hard when you start out and you have these groups that come to you and say, how can we support you? How can we make your residents or your patients or your lives that much better? And they do it by creating things and donating them.
And the thing is, a lot of our older ladies having the fabrics, the quilting and things was a norm, you know, as I think with my grandparents. And actually, I'm a quilter too. So what I do with my fabric that I'm not going to be using, I donate that over to the senior center, to the Wisconsin Warmers. And I've been working with some of my families that I deal with through my job. And, well, what can we do with this? We don't want to just send it this place or that
Right.
place. And we talk about these groups, some of the church groups, and as I said, the senior center, that will take that and turn it into something that can be used for families or children in need, or even taking all the tiny scraps, turning them into dog beds for the Humane Society. Nothing really seems to go to waste.
Exactly.
We're, you know, cycling and recycling things.
Well, and you mentioned before shoveling for a neighbor or something. I think just visiting with someone
Absolutely.
who is elderly,
Yeah.
just going over and spending a few minutes talking, and
They have so much to share.
They do.
And we have lots more to share with you, too. That was such a good cue, Judy. Thank you for that. So stay tuned. We'll be back for our second segment of Helping Hands, our December show, our anniversary show, which starts off our 13th year. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back with our second segment of Helping Hands.
or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Wisconsin is losing our World War II veterans. If you were a World War II veteran, or you know one who hasn't gone on an honor flight to D.C., please help us. The Wisconsin Broadcasters Association is partnering with all Wisconsin Honor Flight hubs to make sure every eligible vet remaining who served their country so selflessly gets the chance to go. It's time for them to see their memorial. It's time for their flight. To learn more or to make a donation, go to wisconsinhonorflight.org.
Welcome back to our December show of Helping Hands. We're here to talk about volunteer opportunities and volunteering in our wonderful community. Another way that you can volunteer is through donating blood. And so I do want to mention again that our community blood drive, in which we partner with the Blood Center, will take place at Aurora Medical Center on Friday, December 18th from 10 to 4 on first floor Conference Room A, which is located right around our wonderful gift shop. So after you give blood, come into our gift shop, look around at all the wonderful local vendors that we do have in our gift shop. But keep that date. That's the last one for the year at Aurora, is December 18th, 10 to 4. A chance for you to give back by donating blood and saving lives.
Well, and we were talking about a lot of structured volunteering and got into a little bit of the unstructured. The snow shoveling, the visiting the neighbors, all sorts of things. Judy, you've got lots of suggestions.
Well, I think, the snow shoveling, now it's raking leaves. And one of the important things is just visiting with your neighbors too, and making sure everything is okay with them. Maybe you want to just make a phone call once a day just to say, is things okay, if it's a senior member of our community.
Because we're hearing more and more. My mother-in-law happens to have Lifeline when she remembers to wear it. Thank you.
And that is an issue?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
But checking, like you said, checking people, there have been more and more cases that we've heard of where people have fallen and they haven't been found for a while.
That's correct.
And so going back to that time where we didn't lock our doors and lock our windows and we checked up on our neighbors, I think that is an important thing for us to do.
Well, and I live in an apartment building, but that doesn't mean that we see somebody every day. Some are more reclusive. I live at the end of the hall, and I still work full-time. So I leave in the morning before people are up. I come home, I maybe get my mail, I'm back in my apartment. Because I volunteer for other places, I do grant writing from home, I do things otherwise, for the organizations, because I do a lot of things behind the scenes. I'm out with the public for my regular job, so I like doing things that I can do in my jammies. And I think that's important for people to do, is that not only do you have to volunteer where people see you, there's a lot of things that you can do from home. And that would be the knitting and the crocheting, the prayer shawls, the scarves for the anti-bullying campaign, the hats and scarves and mittens for the Head Start kids, or Salvation Army for the warming shelter. There's so much that you can do.
And it's a family. So on our screen right now, they have some of the items that Judy talked about, the knitting, the crocheting, the tying, the fleece blankets or fleece scarves or fleece pillows, making cards or tray favors. Every group, whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, a care center, they would appreciate those cards and those tray favors. And that's something that you can do as a family, especially during the holidays when you have the time with your family on your hands and you're all together. Why not enjoy it and share it with others, especially the cards. I know that our patients at Aurora love to see those cards on the trays.
Our Meals on Wheels folks, and over the years, I'd have surplus, and the first thing I would do is get hold of Judy. Can you use them over at the respite house? Can you use it with, some of your other folks? If we have surplus, we share.
Exactly. Now, Judy, you kind of have a twinkle in your eye which makes me think that you want to talk about maybe Celebration of Lights.
Yes.
And what a great event that is.
That is a super event. That helps many, many folks in our community with the food pantries and Christine Ann and Salvation Army and Cerebral Palsy. But, that's coming up, and that's coming up in a week. So, if anyone who wished to volunteer for that, I'm sure could call the United Way office, because they do look for volunteers for that. And also, I think the organizations try to find volunteers also. But that's a great event.
And again, it's people working together, whether it's high school kids, because they need people there to collect the food items.
Yes.
That if you bring food items in, you get a discount. And you need people there to help maintain everything and to
Right.
be warm and friendly on those cold winter nights when people are coming through. And again, it's bringing the community together, which Oshkosh really, we talked about it before, is Event City, because we
Yes.
do have a lot of events that just bring everyone together in one way or the other.
Right. So I do think that's a great event, and it's I've driven by the park now, and the lights are not on, but all of the fixtures are up, so it really looks neat
Well, and we're so used to kind of going past Judy's house
to get there.
to get there, yes.
Yes.
Are they coming in from your end again this year, or
They
did they
are
go back
coming-
to the old way?
No, they're coming in from our end again, going down in front of the lake and up Merritt Street. So, and I see that they're doing more decorating on that side, so
And
looks like fun.
Washington was always well decorated,
Yes.
as far back as I can remember. But with Celebration of Lights coming in, I've noticed that there's even more than there was before in, your entire neighborhood.
Yes.
And people get a real thrill out of that. And the little kids are so excited about all those lights and everything.
Right, and then they get to see Santa down at the park, so.
And I think it's a nice segue too to talk about. We talked about family volunteering, to let our audience know once again that I know sometimes with Christmas vacations and all of that, the parents sometimes want the children to do something and be productive and get away from the TVs and the video games and the iPads and all that stuff. But just for us to know that hospitals, nursing homes, daycare centers, we have a structured volunteering program, so it's going to take a while. We have to do a background check on everyone, and we have an orientation to do. So that might not fit in with their schedule then, but they always can do volunteering things at home for us that we appreciate.
Right.
And you stop to think, between Christmas and New Year's, get the kids an art set for Christmas, and then have them, do those cards or favors or things. And they don't have to be winter ones. Think all the holidays through the year are just a thinking of you. And you put them on the patient trays. We send them out to our folks. You've shared them with your
Yes.
participants
yeah.
and everything. And the nursing homes, again, it's just such a neat thing to do. We've got scout troops that call us regularly, because they need to earn their badges. And so having the younger kids and doing something like that, and then we make sure that we put, in our case, we put a sticker on the back that these items were made especially for you by Cub Scout group or,
Girl
whatever
Scouts.
group. Yes. And our folks love it. Our volunteers love delivering them, and our folks love receiving them.
There was just a slide on the screen that we had up that was talking about caring for, there it is, thank you, crew. Holidays are difficult for caregivers because they're trying to take care of a loved one and still celebrate, and sometimes they feel guilty that they're celebrating something when their loved one isn't able to do it. So what's on the board for our radio audience is be a friend. Go over and listen to them, as Judy already said, maybe with a cup of coffee. Ask what they need, bring in a meal. I'm thinking about the nursing homes. We used to always, as a tradition, go to Pleasant Acres and Parkview, and we would carol there. Because sometimes people forget, they kind of cluster to the bigger centers at that time, and they forget the smaller ones out there. But people love to see kids. They love to see kids, and they love to hear them sing. So if you're looking for something to do, call a nursing home and ask if you can come in and just walk the halls with your kids and sing And we used to hand out candy canes and stuff like that. And the residents just love it. It just brings back so many memories for them.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause I
backtracking.
think-
Go ahead.
excuse me. Well, I think that caroling is great because I don't think we hear as much about that anymore like we used to.
Right.
Well, and I was going to backtrack to Halloween and sort of a reverse that when some of the nursing homes and assisted living facilities or even the churches do sort of a reverse trick-or-treating where the kids can come and get the treats and the residents are providing them. And it's just a neat thing to see that way also.
Because it's remembering that all people need to be involved in one way or the other.
Yes.
And I think, now that you said that, now I'm thinking too, I don't think we see many carolers. We see the madrigal groups
Right.
that are at all the performances, but we really don't see many church groups and that coming out caroling anymore.
Like we used to.
Yeah, like we used to,
Right.
which is a really valid point that we need to promote here
Right.
on our show, because we have many care centers in our community today that
do.
would love to have people come through and sing. And you don't have to be the best singer. I would just go along with my group and I'd pretend I was singing because you don't want to hear me sing. But it's the joy. It's the
Right.
joy on people's faces. And it's the joy when they remember the words to the song and they want to sing along with you. That just,
Right.
that's the season. That's the reason.
Yeah.
And when we have the folks with Alzheimer's or some of the dementia, they don't remember a lot of things, but they start hearing that music that's familiar from way back when. And
Right.
for them to light up when they remember the words and they're fitting in.
See, now, I knew we had you on this show for a reason, because I'm putting a challenge out there now. John, and Judy are challenging church
Right.
groups and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and other groups to get
Just
out in our
neighborhood groups.
community. Yes, come out and walk down your street and carol.
Exactly.
Walk down your street to your neighborhood and carol and spread the message, especially with everything going on in our world today. We need to
Yes.
talk about peace on earth and peace in our communities. So I have to mark that for Judy. That was really good. 'Cause I was just thinking when you said that, you really don't see it much
No,
anymore.
no.
That's what we need to get back to is the communities and
Yes.
working together. And Oshkosh, we are blessed with all
We
the
are.
organizations
We
that
are.
we have. We are blessed to be in Oshkosh and have all those people that support us. And
And we're blessed with the companies that we
Yep,
have.
exactly, that you talked
Oshkosh
about.
also that have certainly supported all of us through the years.
So we're hoping that we in some way gave you some ideas on what to do for the holidays with your family members, with your neighbors, with your friends. We're glad that we could be here, and we hope that you learned something from the show and that you'll have a wonderful holiday season. I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center.
Judy Ritchie with Oshkosh Family Meals on Wheels.
Judy Britton, retired,
And
but we want to wish you a happy holiday.
Thank you. And to everyone, too. We appreciate everything that our community does and that we do through volunteering. And again, if you have ideas for our show or want to talk about something, please contact Judy or myself for information at the end of the show. We're always willing to learn more about what's going on in our wonderful community of Oshkosh.
So, thank you.
Thank you and happy holidays.